What else you got?
Just that it can be managed. You can get blackout days.
You don't like my intros, do you?
I don't like all. I didn't know about this. I was going to give you stuff about Frosty, but I was at the Frosty parade. But I mean, they want to hear about. I don't know about.
You just want to get to it.
Yeah, I want to get to it because
it's nice to have a little intro,
Foreplay.
something to segue you into the topic.
You know how to spell segue?
SEGU.
This is Paul.
That's right. People think it's like the
It's
device Segway.
Yeah.
You know the man who made Segway died on a Segway.
I've helped thousands of people
Beautiful
over the
iron.
past 10 years. I'm the credit expert for Fox Business News. And
Would
all
that
the
be
major
considered a
networks.
fun fact?
I'm a certified
Not all, he's
FICO
dead,
pro
but-
that uses the consumer laws
A dead
to
fact?
help delete negative
won't- he
A
won't-
dead funny
off
fact?
of credit reports.
He won't be offended.
We have a debt elimination program that focuses on the laws surrounding collections,
him.
judgments, and
That's great.
charge-offs. You could be entitled to up to
Color lights because you're
$1,000
outnumbered, my
per
daughter
violation.
said.
Call now for your free credit consultation. 888-533-8138.
1 minute.
That number again, 888-533-8138.
Can you come and stand over here? In fact, can you like squat down because it's very hard to crop our pictures because you have to stand.
Well, I'm not exactly, minute bowl like that one. I'm not exactly 7'7". I can't sit down and do it.
Okay.
Just needs a little work. If you want to get a new home built, they have construction to permanent loans with competitive
You're not
rates
supposed to
and
be
quick
posing.
closing.
It's supposed to look like
Oh,
we're
it is? I didn't know
talking.
that. I think you come over to do that. Oh, so like fake it? All right. So I'm looking at him.
Yeah, you can look, you can talk, you can, I would look at him.
Oh, okay, so we'll talk like we're looking over there.
Actually talk and say stuff, though.
Okay, actually talk and say stuff.
Talk to us.
Yeah. Can you imagine you have to tell Scott to talk and say stuff?
Shouldn't, yeah. Oh, 5 cents good?
All right, 15 seconds.
AnyMac Home Mortgage is an equal housing lender.
10.
NMSL 338923. AnyMac Home Mortgage is a licensed lender by the Colorado Mortgage
5,
Company Registration.
4, 3.
And we're back. And if you'd like to join in on the conversation, please give us a call at 914-693-5700. Again, that's 914-693-5700. Is Deborah still with us? Deborah, are you still there?
We lost her.
No, she
We
should
lost
be.
Deborah. I liked what she had to say, though, Scott. I think that there is a lot of truth to the buyers that are out right now are very serious.
Well,
You know.
the thought is that this thing is going to be annoying and burdensome and really stressful, but really it could be easily handled and could be used as an advantage. I've heard where people have increased their price during the holiday season to show they're serious sellers and to show and to enjoy the leverage they have. As far as people coming and visiting, they don't want track and feed. You can have blackout dates between, let's say, Christmas and New Year's, where that's just not going to happen. If you're on vacation, your realtor is almost like your property manager, where he or she is going in there, checking on the heat, and making sure that it's as it should be. Plus, as we said, the holidays look great. And I think there's another part that we don't even talk about, which is a little bit of a controversial thing. Should the sellers be there for the showing?
Okay, so
Well, what better way to sell the house if you are of the belief that sellers should be than
I
this?
disagree. I completely disagree. I do not think that the seller should be in the
I
house.
said if you felt that way.
Okay.
Some people do.
Do
some-
you feel that way?
The seller should be there. In some instances, because they are the best sellers of the house. Does the listing agent who's been there twice going to be able to sell it better than the homeowners who've been there since '79?
I think that the sellers being in the house make the buyers feel very uncomfortable, number one. Number two, I think sometimes they talk too much. And number three, the emotion of buying a house, and selling a house even more so, there's a lot of emotion there.
For sure.
And if a buyer walks by and says, oh, the first thing we would do is take that out, and you know what? Well,
I've seen
Uncle
that
Jim
happen. He
made
that
that.
with green.
And now whatever offer they come in with, it doesn't matter. I don't
I
like
understand,
them.
but
I don't think it's a good idea.
It could work the other way, where they're people who are interested in the house see the people enjoying the house. Some people can think about why.
Well, I think that's what I like about the holiday time, because it gives a warmth that makes the house feel very cozy, very lived in, and you can tell that there's a family there and they can really picture themselves. But hold that thought. I know you wanted to say something else. We have another caller on the line. Dennis, are you with us?
Hello?
Yes.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, we hear you perfectly.
Oh, excellent. I'm Dennis. I'm on the line with Doug. We're recently married, and we're moving. Doug, say hello. Hello, how are you?
Hi, Doug.
And we're looking to move up to Westchester, and we're wondering if Scott, as a professional in the area, if he knows I'm really nervous, I'm sorry.
Oh, that's okay.
But if he knows if there's any areas of Westchester that would be friendly to gay couples, transgender couples. Like
Absolutely. What we'll do, Dennis, is we're gonna put you on hold, and we're gonna get your information, and Scott will take your information, and we'll work with you, and we'd love to have you as a client of
Do you know
Scott's.
any communities that right now that we can discuss right on the air, because we're trying to look on.
No, I don't want to discuss it on the air. I'd have to look into that. Certainly, you understand there are protected classes and fair housing laws that apply. So we'll reach you at a later time.
All right, thank you.
Thank you for calling.
Okay. That said, I mean, that's an important issue because all people are looking at this time of year.
Yep.
So that said, the big change is, I think, as we said, the technology.
Go ahead. Keep
Okay.
going.
Technology has allowed people to be searching without any involvement of others. The holiday season is just an extension of the online search experience.
I agree.
Right.
Hold that thought. We have Deborah back. Deborah, are you back with us?
I am here.
Okay. I want you to hear what Scott's saying so that we can hear your opinion on this as well.
Yes, I've been enjoying the conversation.
Okay. Go on, Scott.
I drink some more water. Caller. Hi, Deborah. How you doing?
Good. How are you?
I was saying that this conversation is really just an aspect of the actions taken by people who search. If they're searching, they're going to search all year. But I think with more free time during the holidays, buyers are given, they're doing this double screen experience or triple screen experience with their TV, their phone, their tablet, and their.
Absolutely right. Yeah.
So that when they see a window of free time where they're not working, why aren't they going to continue that search/pursuit?
Well, as we came into the Thanksgiving weekend, if you check the online clicks, and we have certain systems, depending, different websites, we get the traffic and all of that. The numbers were over the top for Thanksgiving weekend. I mean, it was huge. We talk about, online shopping for Christmas, but people are out there on the real estate sites. Whether they engage over that weekend, I don't really have numbers on that. But, they're doing all their prep work, and they're saving favorites on different sites, and they're, they may be on Amazon and doing Christmas shopping, but they're certainly out there browsing through the inventory online.
So, Deb, you're a city kid. You'll like this. I was reading recently that on Sunday night, I should use this as a quiz for Victoria. Sunday night, basically upload and download times in Manhattan are 50% because everyone's in their buildings after their weekends, on their phones and tablets, and various buildings have basically been like sucked dry of Wi-Fi. Comes in the building, and people are all on it, and it really affects their times. So amongst all their other Amazon shopping, they're searching. So they're looking for some upgrade and some. It's electricity now. Your online search is electricity. So why would you think they wouldn't look for a home instead of going skiing or instead of, being at work during the holidays?
Right. Or
I agree.
Skiing, in between. They can be anywhere. And they're making
They can
plans
be
that-
skiing and look.
Right, at night in the bear den.
It's funny. I'll give you a fun fact now, too. We're talking about skiing and looking at houses. We were just at a conference with an expo, and in the exhibit hall, they were giving out waterproof cases so that you can take your phone in the pool so that you can stay
Or
on
the
the
shower.
internet while you're swimming.
Yeah, right.
And I asked him, why would I want that?
I know. Yeah.
Well, you might want it for a camera, like the old days, those old portable. But that shows there's a big distinction. That means sellers are walking around with 1970s views, but really they have to be educated and shown, hey, listen, that thought of that you're losing the buyer and you don't want to be bothered. You're not losing the buyer during the holidays. You're definitely getting the real ones, and you should benefit from the other people who have not been properly informed and educated that it is the right time. In fact, why not raise the price? And why not, because there's scarcity, you're in the negotiating power seat right now.
That's true.
That is true. Yeah.
You definitely have to make adjustments in your practice during the holidays, and just letting the sellers know that you are going into the slower market. Perhaps it's shifting maybe into low gear, but things are still moving. They need to stay on the market. You have some that'll say, oh, should I just take the house off the market completely for December or, late November into December? They really do need to stay on. Again, if the traffic's low, that's fine.
So how do you handle that, Deb? So I'm a seller of yours, and you have my house listed, and I tell you I'd like to take the house off the market during the holiday season. What would you tell me?
Well, I would talk to you about why you want to do that. If it's a function of thinking that there won't be traffic, that's not a good reason enough to take it off the market. If it's that you're going to have a few parties, like Scott was saying, you make some blackout periods.
Mm-hmm.
You say, okay, these days we won't show, or you'll have guests in from out of town and you want to black out that week. That's fine. But you still want to stay on the market and really just to give some patience to
Right.
December. I've talked to all my sellers and saying, look, in the coming 2 weeks, probably, we might not have a lot of traffic, but let's just be patient. And we know that it's holiday time, and people realize that. But you might get that call that, like the relocation that I mentioned.
Yes.
Somebody that
And that's huge. Yes.
Yeah, they do need to get in, and not that they want to, if you're having a holiday party, you don't want somebody to walk into that, but people understand if you do have, your house is not totally showing ready, but a few things are off the mark, that certainly is okay.
Right, I agree. There's another point too. Buyers during the holiday season seem to have a little bit more time too. The schools are closed for a couple of weeks, at least here in New York. And a lot of people take their unused vacation time because they don't want to lose it, and they'll take it toward the end of the year, and they have this extra time to go out and look at houses, and now they can go as a family.
That's right. I have found that the week between Christmas and New Year's is always very busy because people do take that vacation. If they don't go away, they're usually off because the kids are off school. So like you say, they're all together, and if they are thinking about moving or if they're in high gear looking, it becomes a very busy week for them. But it's tough for them to get in because, sometimes the sellers have blacked out that week.
Now, Deb, do you also find that people are driving around the neighborhoods to look at the lights on the outside of homes? And during that time, they're getting emotional. They're saying, wow, I wish I had a house like that. So that could really trigger a buyer, right? You agree?
Yeah, we just had a Brooklyn family out this past weekend, and I thought the neighborhood was new to them, and we're talking all about the neighborhood, and it was funny. We laughed because they said, we have driven here 18 times already.
Wow.
I had said, hey, let's go over to this restaurant, we'll catch something to eat. They said, yeah, we were there, we loved it. I mean, they literally have come up here 18 times already.
That's commuting.
They know exactly what neighborhood.
Deborah, is it reasonable, you were there with these folks, but what should buyers expect from realtors? Should they be, does the realtor say, hey, look, I'm off too? Are realtors expected to be on 24-hour Minuteman beck and call? Or, what happens in the case where the people are having an unreasonable, I've heard of people that want to see showings on Christmas Eve. I've heard of that. That's ridiculous. I agree. But have you ever heard it happening?
I suppose it could. I was hearing an attorney complaining that somebody wanted a closing on,
I had quite a few closings on Christmas Eve.
Yeah,
Yes.
But really it's just about setting your boundaries and what you're comfortable with. But as far as new buyers, it's sometimes you don't want to get too heavily involved with someone when you have a lot going on, and you just have to be honest with them and say, pretty jammed up week, how's next week? And if that doesn't work for them, maybe a team member can help them out.
Right. Yeah, well, it's a stressful time for everyone, but I think that the free time is the key. Therefore, buyers are there and sellers could or should, manage the holiday where they can have the maximum family time and enjoy themselves. But why not benefit from your neighbors who are imbued with this old way of thinking that, oh no, the holidays, and then it's January. And I had never even actually understood, why does the spring market mean the coldest time of year?
Yeah, well, I know, and the thing is, with the winters that we had, where the spring has been so delayed, especially like last year.
Yeah.
Even if you're putting something on, when we did like traditional dates, it was always, I'll put it on March 1st. They always, sellers, that's where they want to hit the market. Well, March 1st, the photos outside usually look horrible.
Yes.
There's no green on the grass.
Right, it looks like
No,
hay.
it's
Yeah,
terrible. It's
the
the worst.
sky is usually gray.
March is the ugliest month.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's been delayed. I know that a lot of the photos for listings that were early spring really had to roll over or be rephotographed because, you want the optimal spring photos, but you're just not really going to get them until like late April.
Right.
So,
Pretty blooming.
So, talking about photos, I have a question for you. How do you advise your sellers when the house is listed during the holiday season? Are you telling them to stage it differently, decorating wise? Maybe not so much stuff or
it's,
more stuff?
Again, it's a case by case. It totally depends on the seller. I know that I had this one listing. It's actually a rental though, and next door is a light display that is just beyond. I mean, it's, and I think
You need blinders when you can pull up.
I said, look, this is what it is, and the people, they have to like Christmas, and I guess they have to know about it ahead of time. If you don't like Christmas lights, you are not going to like this street.
So it's the street, it's not the house?
Well, it's the house, but then it's the next door neighbor's house is over the top, and then the other one kind of like carries on, but not as much as the one right next door, where literally I don't see how you can even if you close your shades, you're still going to see light. So
I'll tell you, my folks' street, there's a house that is one of the most over the top I've ever seen, and it really actually affects traffic, and it's a little bit of safety because
Everyone's driving
they're
by.
driving
to see
and
the
their
home.
kids are walking, so it really is so that would be a thing where I would want as a buyer to see what a house. You're not going to find that out in May or June. So if you're going to, imagine buying in May and June, and then this gets surprised. You get this, holy moly, like who knew about this?
Right.
So if you're a buyer, why wouldn't you want to see what goes on in that neighborhood and my next door lunatic neighbor? Are they going to do this?
Well, also, you're getting the added traffic of people coming to see the house across the street. Wouldn't you want your sign there?
Sure would.
that's a good point.
Because as they're driving around, they are saying, "Oh wow, I wish I lived here."
Yeah, some people who want that maybe want some peace and quiet. So.
Yeah, maybe. So
Yeah,
takes all types, right? So
very true.
I have one more question going back to the decorating, and Scott, I'll ask you and Deborah on the phone because I know you sell real estate as well. Going back to that, a lot of the holidays, there's a lot of religious ornaments that come out, and some people tend to overdo that. Is that something that you would shy away from or not? Because I know when you're showing houses, even in the springtime, they tell you not to have an overly amount of pictures of family, of things. You want to take some of that stuff down. You just don't want, because sometimes it's a little.
Obviously it's a
Too
tough
much.
call because this is the sale of the house is important, but the holidays is what your family and your home is.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. That's really, I would think you got to have the right questions for the client to see, do they want to minimize it in any way?
Mm-hmm.
They may not. They may not.
Right. Well, I would think most people would not. That's the point, is that they don't want to do that, and I understand that, but how are you handling that?
This is your house, and the house will still be on the market in January, so there's not that much of a harm. Someone's going to be put off by a tree or a manger scene.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, Deb, you can certainly stay with us. We just have to go to another break right now, so hang on the line.
I have to run, guys.
Oh, well, thanks for calling.
You've been showing during the holiday season.
Yes, you are, right?
Same to you.
Take care.
Have you ever been disappointed because something important you
Well, how about like in the Bronx where they have, I don't know if it's in Westchester, but Mary and the shell, the clamshell.
Yeah.
Well, what happens when you can't sell? You put St. Joseph in the ground?
That's right.
That's another thing.
That's right.
You ever hear that too?
Oh, yeah.
That's
working hard for you.
think that works.
At Movement Mortgage, your loan is processed
Or
in
Saint
7 days,
Christopher
and we underwrite
was the
in
patron
first
saint of
In,
lost
in
causes.
Staten Island.
We
That's why it
underwrite
hasn't
your
sold after a
loan
while.
and update you
Joe in the
continually.
beginning, Christopher
Buying your
in, but
first
it's been
home,
on for a
upgrading,
while.
downsizing, or even refinancing.
In
That's like
Staten
some of my
Island,
house
it's
in
such a
St. Joe.
high demographic of Italian, Catholic, and
It's called
Irish.
Staten Island, Italy.
Staten Italy,
Home
right?
Movement Mortgage
So,
at 1-800-512
Never heard
We
that
would
was
all
Staten
give
Island.
out St. Joseph. When you list the house, you got a St. Joseph statue.
Mortgage is an equal housing lender.
I mean, there you can just be overtly Italian, like the Bronx used to be.
Staten Italy.
This is Paul Oster, the nation's credit repairman.
We had fun. I
and
went to
wanna
breakfast
help
with
you
Paul Oster
improve your credit. As
and
the
Eric
CEO of Better
the morning
Qualified,
there.
I've helped thousands of people
The
over
pool
the
looks,
past
I mean,
10
it's,
years.
it's dumb to
I'm
say,
a credit
but
expert for Fox
what a difference during the day, a
Business
sunny
News and all the
day, if you
major
look
networks.
outside.
I'm a certified
And it's
FICO
like a
pro
light show
that
disco
uses
at night, but
consumer
it's
laws
great.
to help delete negative information
definitely gonna go back
off
there.
of credit reports. We have a debt elimination program that focuses on the laws surrounding
All right, we have a lot
collections,
more time,
judgments, and
so.
A
charge
lot more
offs.
time.
You could be
What are you
entitled
gonna
to
talk
up to $1,000 for a violation.
So what was up with that
Call for
that
your free
guy
credit
calling?
consultation.
I don't know. Was that one of your friends you were laughing
No, I was just, I mean,
He
last
was
because
weird on the phone.
I was
like,
hoping
"Duh."
you were gonna, like, I don't wanna say much
8138
more than that, but
Well, I thought I said the right thing. We'll take your information.
you did it.
You just hung up. Why did it matter if like that if they were gay or not?
He was just being nice.
No, he said he wanted a community. There's no such thing as what a community is that?
That's like
Provincetown? I mean, what is that? Fire Island?
Yeah, yeah. Like,
What is that? Is that where you, I don't know if you go there.
was he a troll caller or something?
Yeah,
I
he was
don't
just
know.
messing with us.
Yeah, it's like a moron.
And he wanted to talk about like communities on the air.
He's baiting you.
Yeah.
What am I gonna say? Yes, I have that information. There's no information there. At least if someone asks about schools or crime, you could
Yeah.
give database.
A demographic. Yeah, you can't give a demographic on like what towns like
So
gay
crazy.
people.
We're also, you're young. We're gonna get to the point where there's no such thing as a gay person. I mean, it's just a person.
Oh, 5 seconds.
And we're back. If you'd like to call in and join the conversation, we are talking about selling and buying in the holiday season. Our number here is 914-693-5700.
Well, we've been spending time, Victoria, on the seller. Well, let's focus on the buyer.
Okay.
What should a buyer do? I mean, if they may, let's flip it upside down and say that the buyer, wow, there's many fewer homes out on the market. I see in October and November these listings pop on, or I see the Zillow has been on all this time, and the realtors aren't even calling me back. What do you think a buyer can do? Can they get really educated on that market or that location or that jurisdiction, learn about that house, and make a compelling offer? I mean, what should they do because they're dealing with fewer homes that they may be searching? There's less on the market.
Well, I'm not sure that it would really make that much of a difference. I mean, if they like the house, and you're obviously you're working with a realtor. That's what we're talking about.
Mhm.
Somebody's working with a realtor, and they are going to talk to them about the market value of the house. So you're going to make a fair offer on that. You know,
But they may not be facing competing offers during this holiday season where they
which
know
is
they damn well
better
will.
for
Right,
the buyer.
right, but they have to act on it. So what are they?
Yes.
Should they be prepared going
Oh, okay.
out?
So you're saying you really want to make that offer during the holiday season
Yes.
before the rest of the buyers
Right,
come
they're all
out.
going to come out of the woodwork when
Yes.
everyone starts, after New Year's, the rest of the world's going to start on their weekends. So they figured not they're going to get a steal, but it could be less stressful
I
without
agree.
competition.
I absolutely agree. And the same way we were talking about buyers relocating, sellers are also people too, and they may be relocating, and they may have to make that deal to close this house before the end of the year and move on.
Well, think about this too. If you make those offers in December and you're going to close early in the new year, maybe you want to have that set your next year up 2016 for tax closing costs and tax benefits. You may want to. Maybe you're selling. Think about this. Maybe you're the seller and you're the buyer. So the person looking at the home that's listed during the holiday season is selling their own home. They may
Right.
have a closing or a buyer ready.
That's right.
To wrap this up.
And there's a deadline that they need to meet. That's exactly what I was saying before. That when you see buyers that are out there and they're looking on Christmas Eve and they're saying, no, I really need to go out today, and we all laugh at that, but they are out there. There's usually a reason, and that reason typically would be a deadline.
I had a
that they
client
have to meet.
from Houston, and there's nothing to do with Christmas, but their house was really in contract for a while, so they had next to no time.
Mm-hmm.
And this might be the situation there. Maybe
Right.
they went to contract Thanksgiving.
Right, and they're
Okay.
only here for 3 days, and they have to get in, they have to see these homes, they have to make a decision today.
Well,
So,
must
yeah,
be
it
weird. I mean,
happens.
think about the position a seller's in a contract, and then they have to find, and it's the holiday season, should they not look? That's the reason why you would tell the seller of that home, hey, listen, there are people who are in contract to sell and are not in contract to buy.
That's right.
They're pretty desperate. So
Right.
yes, your house has less competition, but they have less time.
Mm-hmm.
This has to be done now.
Right.
So I mean, just thinking a buyer should really go out on when they're looking prepared, get their mortgage stuff in order,
Mm-hmm.
be prepared to make a compelling offer, probably closer to asking price,
Yep.
doing less fooling around negotiating, because think about it, people have less tolerance during that time of year.
Mhm.
The realtors don't really want to do this, back and forth as much. I think a deal could be struck, and I've heard that. Have you heard that we went out 2 days and they went out and did it? You've heard of the people who go out, actually snap
Right,
decisions.
get it done. Yeah, absolutely. They come in, they know exactly what they're looking for, but things have changed. Back in the day when the realtors had all the information and you had to go to the office and go through the MLS book and then rely on the realtor, they couldn't do that so much. Right now, if I'm relocating to another area, I'm on the internet. I'm researching that community. I'm going into these homes. I'm doing virtual tours. I know what every house looks like already, and I can narrow it down and say, you know what, I don't like this, but I do like this one. And here it is. I have the top 5 houses. I want to go out and see those. Now I have to get inside them, and of those 5, one of them will be my next house.
Mhm.
We can do that now because as buyers, we have a lot more control when we have access to the information and the data.
Well, we just used the example where the person has a realtor. Well, let's use the one where they don't. That means they're on Zillow or Realtor.com and they're talking to the listing agent, who's going to be very interested because they think it's double sides of the deal. And let's just throw out the issue that the buyer is foolish, I think, for doing that because they lose the undivided loyalty.
Yeah.
Let's say they don't care. Let's say they're really sophisticated.
Okay.
So that means that they might feel like they can do it even more expediently because they're talking to the listing agent. They can arrange the showing anytime. I mean, basically, it could be a one-day thing.
It could be. It could be a one-day thing even if they have representation. But,
Yeah.
yes.
But it's direct. You don't have to deal with, Sally getting her Buick and driving you around.
Again with the Buick. The realtors I hang around with drive Mercedes. I
Okay.
don't know about the
I know
people
some-
you're hanging around with, Scott.
I'm talking about an '89 Buick too. So
An 89 Buick. You really need to get some better
I'm
friends.
sorry. So I just want to say that. But I will say that I know when I've been experiencing renting some places on Long Island, we went out and knowing we were coming back with some kind of a lease. You go out for that day for that purpose, like you're buying, a stick of gum. So I think if you extrapolate that, the buyers can do the same
So
thing.
you're very determined when you go out and buy a stick of gum?
No, I'm saying it's as easy as buying a stick of gum.
Okay.
You can get one. So
Okay.
it's fun.
Just a very strange
No,
example.
I'm just saying it's really easy to get. You're getting it. You just pick the one you want. Like that's where you go with a house and it's a rental.
He
And
buys gum out of the back of the Buick.
back of it. And these realtors carry this gum in their 89 Buick.
In their 89 Buick. Yes. I'm going to get I'm definitely going to stop hanging around with you.
All right.
I don't like the crowd you run with.
I'm not saying everybody, but I've known. I'm not even talking. I'm just saying that the realtor that you might call might have that 89 Buick.
Okay. If the realtor pulls up in an 89 Buick,
Run.
yeah, we have a problem. Definitely.
Wow. But we're,
So we talked about the buyers, we talked about the sellers. What about the affiliate businesses?
That's the point.
Now this is a really good time right now to buy because not only are things slower, if you said you want to go out there and get that house today, well, you can probably make an appointment with your home inspector in a day, right? Instead of waiting 2 weeks.
if they're
because
around,
it's
that's the other thing. I
market.
mean, they should
If
want the
they're
work
around.
because they're slower.
Right.
We're in New York, so it's a lawyer thing, and that could be a trouble area because these lawyers are entitled to their time off after their arduous.
Not
year.
like the realtor in the 89 Buick.
Right. Well, I mean, it's either true or they
By
think
the
it's
way,
true.
the attorneys that you hang out with, what are they driving?
Not an 89 Buick. Not always Mercedes
Nice,
either.
nice. You do know that most good realtors make a lot more than attorneys.
Well, there's also 1 million realtors in America. There aren't 1 million lawyers in real estate, right?
I'm sorry, what would you
There's
say?
only one state that really uses lawyers. So
Yeah,
not
it's
fair.
New York.
So there's 1 million realtors.
Yes.
Not all have 89 Buicks.
I said the good realtor
ones,
will
yeah,
make
okay.
more money than the attorney. And I know you know that that's true.
Yeah, we're also in an anomalous area of New York and the suburbs. Idaho, it's not true,
Yes.
right?
That's
so,
right.
But your point is that during that time, let's say you
Right,
made an
but
offer, you need.
I
lawyers
wasn't
to
talking
generate-
about attorneys. I said affiliate businesses. And
Okay,
all
mortgage.
the affiliate businesses,
They're-
mortgage, yes, mortgage would be one of them. So now you can have your loan officer.
Are they around?
They should be around. They work the same hours we all work. Maybe they're not around on
But they should be
on
around
Hanukkah
enough.
or on Christmas Eve.
They should be around enough to even get a text or a call. They don't have to go into, the Congo where they're not exposed to internet, so they could be accessible. I'm
Mhm.
sure the realtor, you think of your affiliate contacts, they would respond on December 27th to a warm lead, right?
Yes.
So that's not much. Look, it's a weird slice of the year. I remember once years ago, I was away with my now wife, and it was July 4th, and a realtor was driving me nuts to get a contract out and had to be done that day. And it just wasn't. I was away, but it was July 4th.
Mm-hmm.
So really, you say
It's
the holiday
no
season-
different.
It's no different,
Yeah.
right? And in fact, it's even easier because July 4th is one day. This is a season, so it's weeks and who might work. So you want to say he's a tough during the season. No one ever says should you put the house on the market during July 4th. It's just a day that no one's working. But another point is, what do you think when you're driving around on Sundays and people are having open houses? I don't want to move into the open house things. That's another whole show. But is that kind of an ideal time either? Is Sunday the best time, or do you think they're making offers on Sundays?
That's a good point. Yeah. What would be the best day?
Maybe I believe Friday before the weekend, and then people look Saturday.
So when you're putting an offer in, you think Friday would give you
Oh,
the
the
best
best offer, the
leverage?
best. I thought you meant put the property on the MLS.
Oh, okay. Okay. You're saying when you first list the house, when
What
it
do you
hits
think
the
the best
market,
day is?
when it hits, yeah, I would say definitely right before the weekend.
Mhm.
Yes, because buyers are out there on the weekends for sure. That's when people have the most time, and you want that to be fresh in their mind as soon as they see it.
On the hot sheet. And,
Yeah, the hot.
But
They have hot sheets in.
well, they have not literally, but
Yeah.
there's the newest. But the bad news about this listing syndication, Zillow does not. You put that property in 5 o'clock Friday, it does not on Zillow. That's a chief knock on Zillow, in that it is not real time.
Okay.
It aggregates. I don't know if it goes through the.
How long does it take? Do you know?
I'm not sure. I'm gonna, we have some friends of mine in Zillow. I would say about a day or maybe even a little less.
That's still okay though.
It's
So if
not
you
real
put it on
time.
Friday, you're still
Realtor.com
getting
is
it on
real
the
time.
weekend. Yes. Well, Realtor.com is a pull from
Right.
from the MLS, and that's the
You have another
reason.
caller?
We have another caller. Tim, we have a Tim on the line. Hi, Tim. How are you? Our videographer's name is Tim. That's why I said we have a Tim.
Hi.
Yes.
So I live in upstate Pennsylvania, and I was curious as whether or not, does it make sense at all, timing-wise, to put my house up for sale around this time of year?
Tim, you mean what date?
Excuse me?
Do you mean what date? The 21st, the 22nd? I mean, is that what you said timing wise?
Is around the holidays this time of year a bad time or a good time?
Well-
I've heard mixed reviews on that.
Well, if you were listening to our show just now, most of the topic that we talked about.
laughing.
He
No, but
he wasn't listening.
he wasn't
right?
listening.
I'm
But- oh,
sorry,
but-
Tim.
but-
I didn't mean that. I mean that with all love. I promise you. No. I want you to stay.
No, but let Tim-
we want to
let
answer
Tim
your
tell us
question.
when he started it's bad. What did you hear is bad? What's the bad reasons, or what is bad about it?
Well, everybody's, more preoccupied with what's going on in their lives right now as it is a holiday time. And, so I maybe hurt myself in that regard in terms of the amount of potential.
Yep.
Yep.
Well, it's like quality versus quantity. So it's
This time of year, that's the time of year that anybody that really would be coming out at this time of year certainly would be serious people.
Right, you're
But
limiting tire kickers, right?
Exactly. But here's what we've been talking about on the show, Tim, just to bring you up to date and answer your question.
I apologize.
No,
We accept
we
your
appreciate
apology.
you calling because your question is a very good question. And what we were talking about is if you're thinking about putting your house on the market now, you should go ahead and put the house on the market. And you shouldn't worry about buyers not coming in because they are coming in. Any buyers that are out there today are much more serious. Chances are there might be a job transfer because relocation is the largest time for the busiest time. I'm sorry, for relocation would be January. There's a lot of people that need to get something done before the end of the year for tax purposes. So the people that are out there and are walking through your home, chances are they're a lot more serious today than they will be in March.
Tim, there's another reason I always think this, after even contemplating this deeply. You could have your cake and eat it too. You don't want to miss being seen in an online search. You can restrict the showing so you're not getting bothered by people traipsing through your house. Or you could just get feel the temperature, get the pulse. Are you getting any offers? Are people get some feedback? Is any showing agent saying it's priced too high? And then get ready to, launch again in January or April, whatever you want.
Well, that makes a little more sense because, wouldn't I run the risk of being on the market? And if I don't get one of those three serious people at the time because it just wasn't the right match, later I become stale 3, 4, 5 months on the market before the spring market hits, and then that's used against me potentially.
I think it's reasonable.
It could be. It depends on how you're priced. But Tim, we're actually out of time, and we really, truly appreciate you giving us a call. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Tim.
You're very welcome. I love your show. I'm sorry I didn't get the earlier part of it.
Next
Thank
week,
you.
get another shot.
All right. How about next holiday?
Thank you.
Thank
You
you.
too. Scott, how can we reach you?
914-879-8411. I flip it every week.
Okay, yeah, you're always different,
Yep.
right? And Scott, what is your last name?
I'm Scott Forcino from Exit Realty Group in Elmsford, New York.
Elmsford, New York. Very good. Thank you. And obviously, I am Victoria Rivatanera, and I can be reached at victoriariva.com, where you can find all of my information, social media, phone number, email. It's all there, Victoria RIVA. We want to thank everyone for listening to our show, and thank you, Scott, for
Another great one. Put it in
another
the
great
can.
show. Yes, and thank you, Tim.
Yes, guys. See, that's fun. We just rolled. It's really all about us.